This is Gene Adam, former lead singer of Iced Earth. Be sure to subscribe to Podcast and Stone, and don't forget, join our community on social media. Metal lives.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Iced Earth community, welcome to Podcast and Stone, the only podcast 100% dedicated to iced motherfucking earth. I'm Jason. I am joined, as always, with the incomparable Chuck Hoskins. It's another side project, or in the case of this band and album, it's not so much a side project as it is an actual, like, that's their main thing now. I am talking about the 2012 album by Ashes of Aries. 2013 album by Ashes of Aries, self-titled Ashes of Aries. The band brought together by Matthew Barlow of Iced Earth fame, as we all know, and Freddie Vidales of Iced Earth fame, as we all know, coming together, forming their own band, and smashing out a really good debut album.
Absolutely.
Chuck, how you doing, sir?
Jason, it's good to be back. We kind of was on hiatus for a little bit, but now we're back dropping podcasts.
Man, I tell you what, I love the fact that we had that stint where it was like a month of just week episodes. But my mind was saying, when will life put a wall up for us to not just stop doing it? Because there's only so much we could do it, to the point where life's going to happen, right? Where, you know, our schedules are going to be like, nope. And it got to that point, and it's a shame. But we're back.
We can't make a triumphant return if we don't leave.
Yeah, we'd be fucking like, it'd be like, you know, the wrestling. It'd be kind of like, you know, those big wrestling returns where it's like, oh my god, Stone Cold. Anyway, this is not the WrestleCast, is it? No, it's Podcast and Stone, where we talk about Iced Earth and its plethora of related subjects. This subject, as I said, is Ashes of Aries. I'm rambling. Chuck, save me.
This is, to me, a very Iced Earth related album, because a lot of people, Matt Barlow is a key ingredient to the soup that is Iced Earth that we love so much. And you can't talk about Iced Earth without talking about Matt Barlow, the GOAT. The
greatest of all time, like, in my opinion. Like, and I'm going to just, like, you're saying about, very Iced Earth related. In theory, there's technically three members of Ashes of Aries, which is, as you just said, Matthew Barlow on vocals, Freddie Vidales on guitars and bass guitars, and Van Williams on drums. So in theory, 2/3 of this band were in Iced Earth. So technically, it's more Iced Earth than it's not. So
66% Iced Earth, baby.
I'm just gonna tell you my overall thoughts. It'll be very quick because, like, I just want to hear your opinion on this, because I am very much a believer wholeheartedly what this album is to me, right? My overall thoughts. This album, to me, is a combination of traditional heavy metal ideals with riffs so heavy, Chuck, that Ashes of Aries could be mistaken for a death metal band. I'm just going to say it now. Freddie Vidales undoubtedly brings some death metal influence into this album. This album, I listened to some of the riffs from this album, I'm just like, this is fucking death metal. Holy shit. It's death metal with literally Matt Barlow singing. Like, I can't imagine a more cooler thing ever.
Right.
Like, it's so good.
I had this in rotation in my car for about 2 weeks now, on and off. And in that 2 weeks, I'm listening to it and I'm wondering why this album isn't even more so in my rotation than it is. If you're not familiar with this, if you're watching this just because you're an Iced Earth fan and you've never listened to this, this is the best Iced Earth album that you haven't heard. And if you want to know what it would be like if Matt Barlow was steering the ship completely, and John took the week off, and he said, Matt, here's the keys to the car, you drive it. This is it. This is Matt's vision. It's all Matt and Freddie, and there's touches of Iced Earth because you got the Matt Barlow vocals, but then the riffs are different, and everything is like, you're like, oh, that's not John. You know, you're like, oh, that's different. I like, you know, it's the best album that isn't in your rotation right now, and I can't wait to talk about it because this is one I've been excited to do for a long time.
I'm just gonna put this point across. It's gonna be a bit of a spoiler for Ashes of Aries Worlds of Souls album, but I digress. I would argue this is probably the best album Matt has done since leaving Iced Earth, hands down. Like I think it's fantastic, and I'm a guy who loves his We Are Sentinels album as well. So that just speaks to what he's done.
I'm going to go into the Well of Souls after I do a 2-week dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because last time I listened to them both back to back, it was pretty close. Like, you know,
right.
Like there's things you know, so.
I can't help but, like, I think the thing with Ashes of Aries is that, with me anyway, is that kind of like, they get, I think both albums got lost in the shuffle because there was so much going on in 2013 and 2018 or 19. It came out this year, right? With Our Souls?
2018.
Or was it last year? Okay, I'm getting confused.
Well,
anyway,
one of the two.
Anyway,
I can't remember.
In the respective years, both albums came out. There's been a lot going on in music, especially when I'm into such a plethora of bands anyway. So when this first album came out, I knew about it. I was excited about it, but I didn't grab it straight away, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, I'll check that out. And I think I listened to This Is My Hell, which is their first single, and I quite thought, that's all right, and just kind of like brushed it aside. Kind of similar. It's kind of a similar scenario to the Demons and Wizards albums that we've already spoke to. If you haven't seen those retrospects, we did talk about Demons and Wizards in depth. 2 videos, so check them out if you haven't seen them. I know we've got new subscribers here, so I thought go and check out some of the older stuff. It's I think you'll find that interesting. But yeah, it's a similar kind of situation with Ashes of Aries where I kind of didn't jump on it straight away. I kind of let it like kind of linger because there was other stuff I was kind of consuming at the time. I remember going into my one of the only entertainment stores that really sells metal that is still dying. I've mentioned before on this podcast. They're called HMV, and I just saw it on the shelf, and I'm just like, I haven't got this yet. I'm just gonna get it now. And I got it, and I remember it was sitting on my shelf for fucking weeks before I decided I'm going to listen to that. And even when I did listen to it, I thought Matt was awesome on it, but I didn't really listen. I was hearing, but I wasn't listening. Do you know what I mean, Chuck? Do you ever have that before?
Yes. Sure. See Demons and Wizards of the past. Now, see, I'm going to take the opposite approach. It was 100% on my radar, my tractor beams, both of them. And I was there from the beginning on both of them, and I snagged them both up. Now, like I said, when I listened to this over the week, I wondered why I don't listen to it more. It's that good. And as we break down track by track, but I was so excited because this felt like the Pyromaze kind of felt like a side project. You had a feeling it was kind of a one and done shot, and this one, it felt, I don't know, if I felt closer to it, and it felt more Matt, and I felt like it had some substance to it, and of course with Freddie being there, and I'm like, instantly, I'm like, oh, yes. Like, I was so glad. And the art is incredible. The flames, it's just the double A, it's just, it grabbed you. I love the name, you know, so I'm ready to talk about it.
I love the fact that, you know, Iced Earth as an entity kind of creates these byproducts that are also awesome. Like, you know, without Iced Earth, Matt and Freddie would have never have met, and in turn would never have left around the same time, and then basically put this together and had this idea for this band. And I think you don't get that you don't. There's such a plethora of other bands that are just innately, just undeniably tied to Iced Earth. Like without, 100% without Iced Earth, this wouldn't exist. And Ashes of Ares are in that camp 100%. Because
absolutely,
if they're, as a thing, if there wasn't Iced Earth, you wouldn't get Ashes of Ares. And I think, I'm not saying Ashes of Ares owes anything to Iced Earth, but I think that it's just such a cool thing that we could be these massive Iced Earth fans, but there's so much surrounding the band that is also, that's worth your time. That's worth your time. Check all this crap out. And it's not just like, it's not just half-assed, just, let's make music and get it out there. It's top quality stuff. It's I don't want to say it's on the level of Iced Earth, because because John Schaefer keeps a certain level that is very up there, but especially listening to this Ashes of Ares album, I'm saying, like, Matt and Freddie, they've climbed that, they're reaching for that brass ring, man. And I would say it's, with this album, this is a 9 out of 10 album for me. It's just they've almost grabbed that brass ring, they've almost got there. And I remember when this album came out, and before I bought it, it might be a reason why I didn't grab it straight away, because I used to read a lot of album reviews in magazines, and I used to get Metal Hammer magazine, which I still do, but I don't really read it as much as I used to. But they gave this I thought it was quite unfair, because I hadn't listened to the album yet. They gave it a 5 out of 10, which is a very mediocre kind of score, right? I don't really care about number scores anyway. But the whole review, bear in mind the review's for about, what, like 150 words? Not that nice. Really stuck a couple of paragraphs. And all it kept doing was, Iced Earth this, John Schaefer that. And I'm just like, you shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, two guys have come out of Iced Earth, but you should never. I'm not comparing this to Iced Earth at all. I don't think it sounds like Iced Earth. It might have a bit, obviously Iced Earth shaped the two guys' lives as they kind of, as musicians, because even in our interview, Freddie said about how he's learnt so much from John being in Iced Earth. So the guys have definitely learnt something, and I think this album proves that they've really progressed. At the time of this release, they've come out at the back end of Iced Earth and was like, this is everything we've learnt being in that band. This is who we are. This is us. This is our fucking music now. And it's great.
Well, I think musically it doesn't sound like Iced Earth, but when you hear Matt's voice, to some people that is Iced Earth's voice. So there is some Iced Earth sounds in there, and there's one song that reminds me a lot, but I'll get into that later. So I think that if you're putting it in and you're expecting the Schaefer riffs and the Schaefer signature is not there. If you're wanting the soulfulness and the gods of metal screaming and a super heavy riff oriented album that'll just fucking take you there, then this is the album, because it's Matt Barlow. Period.
Well said, my friends. Shall we jump into track listing?
Yes. Track number 1, The Messenger.
They've opened with a banger on this one. This is probably for me, like, I don't think there's anything I dislike on this album. I'm just gonna put that out there now, but I think this is one of the strongest songs on the records. I love like the kind of almost so soulful vocals, the way he sings the beginning bit, like traveling with the word of the wise, this ancient story arrived. It's so good. Baritone,
yes.
it's so, it's just that whole passage when he just goes, we write. He goes into the whisper, and then the guitars and drums come in, man. It's so well written to the point where it's just like everything just works. And I also want to say this as well: the drums on this whole album, Van is a fucking monster on the drums on this record. This song, Messenger, man. you're gonna hear the term "heavy as fuck" a lot when we talk about this album, because oh my god, Chuck, this album is so heavy.
The Messenger. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that intro because I love the way it kind of starts slow and it showcases his voice and his soulfulness before it starts getting into the riff, and it's a perfect opener. It's a great tune all the way around. I mean, signature Matt.
Yeah, and what I love about it as well is that in the verses, he does this like it's like a duet, but it's a duet with himself. Like falsetto line goes to a baritone line, goes to a falsetto line, goes to a I'm like, he's the greatest of all time. He is, like, come on.
Yeah.
Show me someone that sounds like Matt Barlow, because you can't find them. He's unique. He is the GOAT. He is incredible. This song just sums it up, man. Comment down below.
Time to move the chains. Time to move the chains.
Yeah, track 2, Move the Chains, man.
Track 2, very catchy tune. Still very very riff oriented musically. It's great. He sounds terrific. Just a straightforward rocker. A great tune. Like, there is no skippers on this whole album. Move the Change is an outstanding track.
It's just like it's probably the most anthemic song on the album. I would say it's very there's a bit towards the end. I think it's like after the solo. There's a bit where it's like towards the end of the song where it's like you got the gang verse like, we got to move the chains. That's so good, man. I tell you, we got to talk about his falsetto. No one does a high note like Matt Barlow. Nobody. In terms of
it's matured and it's terrific.
It's so unique, man. Yeah, Move the Change, man. It's probably the anthem of the album. It's not the best song, but it's the most like fist pumping. Just get you jumping about and just singing along to it. It's great track.
On Warrior's Wings.
You can go first.
I really like this song. It's dedicated to a policeman who passed away in the line of duty, and it's so powerful. I mean, his words, like some songs, it's the hook, some it's the melody, some just the words and the meaning and his soulfulness. It's you could almost picture him like singing this at a funeral. It's one of the most powerful songs I've ever heard. It's just it's a great song. What are your thoughts, Jason?
I really like the kind of, it's almost moody guitar, lead guitar at the beginning, and then it goes into the more kind of softer tones of the verses, which is really nice. And then it kind of explodes later on. There's a specific part. There's a riff. I can't get it in my head right now because it's obviously we're doing this live. But like the riff and drums that come after the chorus is fucking like, I'm like, that is awesome. That sounds wicked. And I really like the guitar solo as well. I think I don't know who does the solos because there's a lot of guest musicians on this.
I assume it's Freddie. I know it was produced by Morris, so Morris might end up on a song or two, but I'm bad about not reading the liner notes too much. But yeah. It does have a good solo.
Track number 4.
That takes us Punishment. Punishment is not one of my favorite Ashes of Aries songs. It's one of my favorite fucking songs of all time. It's just, if this isn't on your normal everyday rotation, good God, Punishment. It's about the Punisher. And it starts off so wicked. It's a guitar, but it sounds like a bass kind of.
See, I thought it was a bass. In my nose,
I did too until Freddie's interview. Remember, he talked about it.
Yeah. Fuck. In my notes, I was like, bass intro is killer. That's a guitar?
Yeah. It's a guitar. Freddie, I remember being surprised when Freddie told us that. But then when it, he does that spoken part, and then it goes into a riff that, if you're not shaking your head, It's one of the heaviest, and I love the Punisher. Me and my children are in the midst of watching the Netflix show right now, and we love it. But it's just, it's so awesome. Punishment. Go listen right now as soon as this is done.
Yeah, the like I was saying, the intro, be it bass or guitar that sounds like a bass, is killer. The funny thing is, like the spoken word intro, I just think it's very Schaefer. Like I can imagine them if they got Schaefer to come in, he could do a really good job of that because he's got like punish the wicked. It's got a very kind of Schaefer vibe. I just thought it was Schaefer because Schaefer likes his spoken word bit, so I just couldn't help it. Yeah, that riff, like not the main kind of fast riff, but this kind of mid-paced chunky riff in it is just fucking heavy as all shit, man. So good. Yeah, Punishment. It doesn't get an up, it gets a golden up.
That's awesome. That takes us to This Is My Hell. Was this released before the album? Do you know?
I can't remember. You know,
I can't remember either.
I know there was. I think it.
I know there's a really good video on YouTube that you could check out. It's a very catchy song.
Yeah.
It's not as heavy as some of the other ones. It's a just a good metal tune. Like it's catchy. I find myself singing along to it throughout the day when I'm at work. It's catchy. That's my word for this song. It's very Barlow. It's an awesome song. I love the title. You know.
Yeah.
So I dig it. What's your thoughts of This Is My Hell?
I really like the acoustic, how it opens acoustically. I think it sounds wonderful. You know, I said about Move the Chains being very anthemic. I think this is also anthemic, but I think this is bigger. Like, it's probably in terms of, like, it sounds huge. The chorus is massive. I think it's probably the biggest song on the record in terms of, like, it just feeling massive when it kicks into the chorus. And just obviously Matt is just outstanding on it again. Like, yeah, it's just really good. Like I said, there's no one song that I dislike. I like the whole album. The whole album is a 9 out of 10. I say people probably go to me, oh yeah, but where's that 1 point gone? And I'm just like, like I can't give everything 10 out of 10s. Come on, guys.
Right. Dead Man's Plight. Man, this song is riff-o-rama to me. You know, I was listening to it actually today going home, and it reminded me there is an album in Anthrax's catalog, and forgive me for not knowing this, where Dimebag played on several songs. It had that kind of feel to it, and it just the riffs were so heavy, and it sounded just so metal, and some screams in the background very much gave me a horror show vibe. So this, I was listening to that today and I was like, God, this song is great. And that just shows how great this album is because, you know, I kind of keep repeating that, but it's just a great song. What's your thoughts of Dead Man's?
I really like it, but I would say it's probably my least favourite on the album. It's probably the weakest song on the record. That's taken nothing away from it. It's stacked against what else is on the record. It's just the weakest in my opinion. I think the midsection before the solo is great. And overall it's really solid. It's just, you know, again, vocals are fantastic. It's just a solid like middle of the album kind of song. It is middle, yeah, it's right dead in the middle of the album. So yeah, it's a good kind of like solid midway album song.
Fair enough. Chalice of Man.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this song, Chuck.
I'll let you go first.
I'm tied with when it comes to favourite song on the album. This is one of them. I'm tied by 2 songs. Chalice of Man is probably one. It's probably one of the heaviest songs on the album. It's fucking hell. It's heavy. The riffs are massive. The vocals are great. Again, the pre-chorus is really damn cool. Matt goes almost. He kind of has more of a grittier kind of vocal. He's a bit more aggressive on this one. It just sounds. Is there anything he can't do, man? Fucking hell, he does baritone high, and then he does this kind of almost kind of really kind of snarly, kind of gritty vocal in there. And there's a bit before the solo where it literally just goes death metal, where he's like, I will taste your blood. I'm like, this is death metal. Matt Barlow is doing death metal. What is going on here? It's so good. Yeah, so good. Like, one of my favourite songs on the album. Yeah, incredible.
I can't say heavy. It's just heavy, straightforward, great metal. I'm just going to say ditto to what you said because it's just
Copy
it's
and
heavy.
paste.
It's copy and paste and give me a British accent.
It doesn't
Bloody
get
hell.
2 ups, it gets 2 golden ups. Man, I shouldn't do that
What?
gimmick because it's not mine.
What I am.
No, you've missed one. You've missed the
No,
answer. The answer.
Oh,
was-
that's because I'm looking at it last. We'll go to the answer. I actually prefer the acoustic version better. Do you have a preference?
I'm opposite. I prefer this version, the original.
Okay. I'll talk about the acoustic version. I'll let you talk about the other one. Acoustically, it's in the pocket. It's just the melody, the harmonies in it. It's a beautiful song. It kind of I kind of put it in with like melancholy. I mean, not just feel wise. It to me it kind of feels like that kind of song. It's just total. It showcases Matt's vocals, which I think you need at least 1 or 2 tracks off an album to do that. Because if you make the music too much the highlight, then you're wasting the goat.
This
So
go on, carry on. Sorry, I thought.
so anyway,
you finished.
so the answer is my acoustic is my kind of my sleeper. It's just an outstanding track. If I had to make a 15-song greatest hits of Matt Barlow's career, the answer acoustic would make it. It's that good in my eyes.
As we're talking about, I'm going to talk about the original, as we just said. Yeah, I like where like the album up until this point has been quite, baritone and full on falsetto, kind of heavy and a bit, and obviously he's got Chalice of Man where he went more kind of aggressive on it. This album, he's using higher vocals, but it's not falsetto. It's kind of like a bit below. It's kind of like it's a higher register, which he sounds beautiful in this song. I'm gonna say that it's my favourite performance on the album. I think he sounds tremendous. I think the hooks are in there. When they're obviously you was doing the acoustic version. When the guitars come in on this, they come in like a sledgehammer. They're not really heavy, but they sound big. If you understand what I mean. They are heavy, but they're not heavy in the sense of like Chalice of Man heavy. They're more kind of, they accentuate the beauty of the song in that way. It's a ballad, 100%. It's a brilliant ballad. I love it. Yeah, Matt's best performance. His voice is beautiful on it. He invokes so much emotion throughout the whole song, and yeah, it's I said I've got 2 favourite songs on the album. If I were to pick a third, it'd probably be The Answer.
Fair enough. I don't dislike the electric version. I just prefer the acoustic.
That's fair enough, man. It's cool. Still a great song regardless.
What I Am. We're down to our final 2. That's got Freddie's riff on that is tremendous. And I love Matt's got a little breakdown in the middle of it. It just screams Barlow. It's not my favorite track of the album, but I still listen to it and love it. So kind of a straightforward rocker. Just an awesome riff. The riffs in this album is just tremendous.
You know how I said I had 2 songs that are tied together? That are tied. This is the other one.
Okay.
Holy fucking shit. How heavy is this song? This is like Damien heavy. This is heavy as fuck. Like, what's going on? This song to me, this song is death metal with clean vocals. That's that. Like I'm listening to, it, I'm like, this is death metal. Matt, you're singing to death metal, man. Like,
But
that's so fucking cool, Chuck. It's so cool.
I think
this song is.
I think it's the Freddie influence, because didn't he mention that he was in kind of some death metal stuff? So I think, you put the two of them together, and that's what you want, death metal with clean vocals. That's what Freddie and Matt together is.
And the crazy thing, it works so well, Chuck. It's so good.
It does.
And it has triplet picking in it. Well, we're like triplet picking for the win, Chuck. We all like triplet and pickling here. Yeah, one of my favourite songs on the album. One of the heaviest songs. You could put this up against anything off Burnt Offerings, and I would say they're probably equal. If not, this could be a bit heavier. I don't know. It's so heavy. What I Am. What a song. If you've not heard it, people, What I Am by Ashes of Aries. Yeah, if you like your death metal, listen to this. It's awesome.
And the album closer, if you don't count the acoustic bonus, was the answer acoustic? Was that on all of them or just some of them? Do you know?
All of them. It's on my vinyl and it's on my CD. Yeah.
Okay. The One-Eyed King, I was listening to that, and that riff at the guitar intro reminds me of early Megadeth. Did you hear that when you listened to that?
No, I kind of heard, I kind of heard, like, to me it sounds like if a piano player was just going on guitar. I found it was very discordant, like it sounded a bit weird and a bit kind of disjointed, but it kind of worked at the same time. It's a very, very cool opening guitars, I think.
Yeah, I dug it, and like I said, to me it sounded like early Megadeth and kind of Rattle. I don't know which song I'm talking about, but just musically it's perfect. I think it's different. Like you hear it and you're like, oh, that's not the average metal riff, and I dig that.
It really works because, like, in contrast to What I Am is this undeniably heavy death metal song. Then you go to the One-Eyed King, and it's just like he's a bit of a breather. It's still heavy, but it's like we can calm down now. You can breathe a little. But yeah, I loved Matt's falsetto over the intro. You hear him underneath going, yeah, just screaming his tits off. It's awesome. And it's got this kind of undercurrent tremolo picking in the pre-chorus and chorus that sounds almost black metal-y. Did you know what I'm talking about?
Sure. It's
like an undercurrent. It sounds really good, yeah. It's a really good song.
So, Ashes of Aries' debut album. If you don't have it, go get it. If you're one of those people that listen to Spotify and don't buy CDs anymore, go to Ashes of Aries' store and buy a shirt. Support Matt. The best way, there you go. The best way to get more Matt Barlow is to support Matt Barlow and Freddie. So buy something from Ashes of Aries. It's awesome.
They got some cool new shirts as well in support of the new album.
They do.
So I recommend checking it out. I need to get some more t-shirts now. But yeah, Ashes of Aries debut album, so good, man. Like, when it comes to like traditional heavy metal, this is probably one of the heaviest bands in that genre. It's like I said, it's mostly a combination of death metal and traditional heavy metal. Being that Freddie Vidales is still probably very much influenced by death metal, but yeah, I don't know, like mostly everything that Matt Barlow touches turns to gold. I say mostly because Crucial Man exists, and I don't think that's exactly gold, but
some of it is.
Yeah, 2 songs maybe, but yeah, everything aside from 2 songs off of, everything aside from the majority of Crucible Man, everything is done turns to gold. Yeah, this album is fantastic. And like it's so good when you don't listen to an album for ages. You go back to it after I don't think I listened to this for about 2 years. So I go back to it, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what it was like. Fuck me.
See, I've kind of gave this a rest because I've listened more when I'm ready for a Barlow side project. I listen to more of We Are Sentinels or the new one just because it's so fresh.
But
And you know
yeah.
what? Pyramaze is another one that I like that I don't listen to enough.
Mm.
And I can't wait to dig deep and see how I rate that after a week's listen.
That's the thing about what I love about Matt Barlow is that everything he's done post Iced Earth has been very different. Pyramaze sound nothing like this. Ashes of Aries sound nothing like We Are Sentinels.
Of course
And
not. Yeah.
I think that's kudos, and that's basically showing the strength of his vocals and what he can do. He can make. I've always argued that Matt Barlow can put his voice to almost any kind of genre and it would work because he's got that diversity in his vocals. Like with this album, like I just said, it's literally, there's a song where he literally goes death metal, and I'm just like, what? Matt Barlow's doing death metal? Not proper full on death metal, it's like, but like as close as you're gonna get in the parameters of traditional heavy metal. It's as close as death metal as you're gonna get with a traditional metal album, and it's great. Support the goats, if you will.
Support. Yeah, go pick up the record. It's available on vinyl and CD and digital. Who wants digital?
Speaking of vinyl, I have it on vinyl.
Yours is beautifully red, isn't it?
Yeah, but should I get it out? I really can't be bothered. If I'm honest with you. But I'm gonna anyway, because I
Why are you bothered?
Huh?
Oh.
Because I love everybody and they would like to see this, because I would if you had something. There you go, lovely red. The camera doesn't do it justice. I noticed my camera's fixed itself. But anyway.
Yeah.
It looks lighter on the camera, but it's actually quite a dark blood red more than a see-through red. But it's very nice. And once again, it sounds fantastic on vinyl as well.
As everything does.
The red vinyl in particular is limited to 250 copies. Mine is number 64. So if I kind of zoom it in.
Beautiful.
Is that focusing?
Yes, it is.
Coolio. So yeah, the vinyl's great. I think this red one in particular is rising in price, so I would try to look about if you want the red one in particular. I didn't even realise it was red. I just bought it off of Discogs for cheap, and it ended up being the red one. So I was quite fortunate for that, and it was sealed. So
right.
I done all right.
You could still. Last time I looked, you could still get the black for right around 24, 25, and the red went for about 5, 6 more. Last time I looked.
Yeah.
Because I need to add that to my vinyl collection.
You know, I'm gonna say this. I did mention this to Matt when we had him on. When we spoke about We Are Sentinels, but yeah, if he sings on it, I'm gonna buy it. Simple as that, because he's one of the greatest voices, in metal, and I think he could be, if he wanted to, he could be the greatest voice of any genre, and because that's what the GOAT does.
I still want to hear him on a Christmas album. That's just me. I think he can nail it.
Man, Matt Barlow singing Jingle Bells, give it to me all day long, mate. Yes, please. Matt, get on that, yeah? We know.
Yes, Matt, you got time.
We know you watch.
So anyway, great album. Check it out. Can't wait to talk about the second one.
Well of Souls. Yeah.
Well of Souls. We're going to get into the well. Jacob's Well. Jacob's Well of Souls.
Speaking of Jacob's Well, he has a new album out called Bitter Days. I designed the logo. His son designed the artwork. Throw him some money and buy the album, because Gene Adam is awesome. He knows he's awesome. Yeah, support the OG. Support the OG Gene Adam, because he's a beautiful human being.
All right, take us home, Jason.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This has been Podcast in Stone. We have been talking about Ashes of Aries' debut album, Ashes of Aries. Punch that like button, hit subscribe if you have not yet, share this about if you are so inclined. We have a Patreon. I don't mention it very much, but we have a Patreon, patreon.com/podcastinstone. If you feel like you could throw us $1 or $2, that'd be great. It helps us out no end. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/group/podcastinstone. join over 600 members, including former members of Iced Earth, and join in discussions of,
and current members.
and current members. Yeah, just jump in, join the group, chat about Iced Earth, discuss albums, discuss live. You can discuss your live experiences. Yeah, jump in. There's a lot of Demons and Wizards discussion right now because they're red hot right now. So if you're a big Demons fan, jump in, chat about Demons. If you're going to see them in America,
or Wizards, whatever.
If you're currently ready to go and see them on the current North American tour, I would say do it because you'll be missing out big time. They were incredible in London, so I'm sure they'll smash it in North America. Anyway, I've been Jason. I've been joined with my co-host Chuck Hoskins. We have been podcasting Stone. Stay metal because metal lives, my friends. See you later.